Hey everybody, Sean here with DTF Tech Talk, owner, Hometown Hype, Custom Apparel, Franklin, Pennsylvania, and founder of DTFFirst.com. When you don't just need to get your DTF prints done, but you actually need professional quality results. We specialize in premium DTF prints. We help with artwork preparation. We're not just going to print whatever you send us and hope for the best and hope you prepared it properly. We're going to help you and teach you how to prepare your artwork properly so you can get professional quality DTF results. So I'm making this video today because we have just finished the final part of the process of switching from DuPont inks to Inkbank inks. So if you guys are part of our Discord group, you know that I've been in the process of switching our inks. So we started using the Inkbank white inks like a month and a half, 2 months ago, but we've been waiting for our DuPont CMYK inks to like run lower before we finally decided to switch to CMYK inks because they're expensive, right? So we wanted to use them up, but now knowing what I know, I honestly just wish I would have dumped them months ago because the results they're dramatic. Okay, so first off, I just want to say that the reason that we finally decided to switch away from DuPont inks is that I had actually been looking at some of our older results from our older prints and some older shirts and hoodies that we had. And my initial reaction was just that the colors were just so much more vibrant, right? They were brighter, the contrasts were better. They were just nicer colors. They looked better, right? And I always kind of thought that the colors from the DuPont inks were a little bit dull. So early on, when we switched from our Oddly inks to the DuPont inks, it was kind of a disaster because like the colors were so different, right? And we had switched inks in the past, like because they stopped providing the old inks or for whatever reason, and like we were always able to get by with minor adjustments with the generic ICC profiles. But suddenly when we switched to the DuPont inks, the colors were dramatically different. And I ended up reaching out to the DuPont product leads for the DuPont, or they call it Artistry P1600 or 1690 inks. And they were cool enough to actually build me a custom profile. Like they figured out what films I was using, what my printer was. They knew I was using the DuPont inks. And they actually ordered some of that film and built me a custom ICC profile, which is like really cool. And that was really a cool thing for them to do. But the colors were better at that point, but looking back, they still were not 100%. So I put it over here. I want to show you guys this. So this is the same print file. Let's make sure my mic's still on. This is the same exact print file. Okay, here, I'm going to get behind the camera for this. This one was done with the DuPont inks just right before we changed. Okay, same ICC profile, same file, right? Same exact file. This was the DuPont one. And then this is the same file under the same settings and everything with the Inkbank inks. So like, I know they're on a different color shirt, but like, you can even tell, usually you can't tell these kind of differences in the camera. You can even tell in the camera because of how dramatic it is, right? This one's bright and vibrant, looks like almost like a neon orange. This is like a dull, like a brownish orange that struggling to get there. So here, let me get it real close. So let me fold it down so the colors. I want to see. Like, look at that. I mean, you guys can see that, right? And I printed a bunch of these, and that's like the brightest. That's like the best orange I could get. So I printed a bunch when we were making this print file, trying to figure out what orange looked the best and all that. So, and then I also printed, I have like a giant color wheel that shows the CMYK color codes and like what that color looks like. So when we need to match it for certain things. And like, I was just going down the list, comparing. I mean, every color, right? The blacks are more black. The oranges are more towards a neon versus like a dull. The reds are a little lighter, but like more red. They just look better. They look better, right? They look more vibrant, better, fuller, better colors. So that's ultimately why I switched. When we switched from the DuPont to the Inkbank white inks, I did notice, however, that on Monday mornings, I would have to fight with it just a little more, maybe like one more cleaning cycle or maybe one load ink cycle, because after one cleaning or two cleaning cycles, I wouldn't get perfect nozzle checks. That was only on Monday mornings. There's been no point where I really have had to battle with it or soak it overnight or anything like that. So it might just be a little more temperamental. And like, honestly, as I've been thinking about this more, I have equated it to almost like when you go to a restaurant and you're going out to eat, you want to get yourself a nice meal. If you guys see on the menu that a dish says like low fat, right? That is a dish you may want to stay. I know I would never order that, right? You might want to stay away from it because it's missing something essential that makes it good, right? That's what makes it good is the fat and the calories and everything, right? So I wouldn't order this. Some people would. And I know that like from watching, I've recorded this video so many times I forget what points I hit and I hadn't hit. I'm sorry if I had already hit this, but if you watch, there's like there was some conference with the DuPont product lead or like the chemical engineer that developed the DuPont inks for DTF printing, talks about like what their priorities are and like what the reason what they wanted to do. I'm gonna turn this over here while I work to you guys, so and I'll keep talking. And honestly, from what I took away from that conversation was the fact that DuPont, what they're really trying to do is they're trying to hit environmental regulations so that really big shops can be compliant for winning really big deals. So like, what does that mean? So like a lot of times like a giant company, imagine you're Nike, okay? And you need to have a contract printer print you 10,000 whatevers for your stores around the country, okay? In order to get like some kind of subsidy or keep your government contracts or whatever the heck it is, you need to show that you're like compliant with California Save the Baby Seals regulation number 322 and that your products don't use toxic ingredients or whatever, right? So DuPont, according to their TED Talk, right, that was a major, I want to say concern. That was one of their main priorities when they were developing the DuPont inks was to remain as compliant as possible with all those types of environmental regulations, okay? So come back to my analogy of like the low-fat dinner dish when you're going out to eat. I think that whatever DuPont did when they developed their inks, they may be missing something essential that causes the inks to be good, right? So I think they said like their inks are glycol free and all this. Well, maybe the glycol is important to making your colors look better. I don't know. I'm not a chemical engineer. I don't know and understand this stuff. All I know is that the DuPont colors look dull and these new colors don't look dull. So, and for a lot of shops, big shops, right, having the opportunity to have a compliant ink company that complies with all those environmental standards might be huge for them. It might allow them to win millions of dollars in contract printing work that they otherwise wouldn't be able to earn. So that's not to say there aren't people. Sorry, there'll just be a sec. It'll be loud. That's not to say there aren't people out there that this is an awesome product, a lifesaver for, right? That's just not me and where our shop is at. I'm going to move away from this so it's not so loud. So yeah, that's just not where we're at and where our shop is at. So we just want the best, most vibrant, best looking colors possible. And screw it if I get cancer in 20 years, I'm working near this stuff, right? That's just where we're at, right? But there are shops out there that need to win those contracts with Nike or Under Armour, whoever it might be, the really big shops. And it's great that that product's on the list. And like I said, guys, DuPont's been really cool to me. Like I said, I reached out early when I switched to the inks. They helped me. They built that ICC profile for me. I will say I did reach out to them after that with questions or concerns or like to share something with them that I've noticed, and they never responded after that. So I guess their coolness only extended so far. But anyway, I was only trying to help when I did reach out to them or I gave them, and maybe I came across like a know-it-all. I don't know. I can be abrasive sometimes, and I know that about myself. So sorry if you're seeing this and you thought I was a dick. I'm sorry. I was just trying to help. So anyway, that's it, guys. We are back. If anybody's interested in seeing that color chart, I'll take some pictures if you're interested and go down like line by line so you can see the differences between how the colors and how dramatic the differences are. But